So today is the only day I have to work on Maude to get her ready for Northern Ireland. Large prints of Esther sent me by Nathan Orbell. I don't have too much left to do now, but it's bad news. I am gutted. Local classic Ford meet. Mk2 Escort van, 2-door Mark 1, Capri, Thames van, RS 1600i. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and yesterday me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat got back from our little road trip that you would have seen in the last few videos. Now tomorrow we're hitting the road again. We're going to be heading up to Liverpool and then getting a ferry over to Northern Ireland to attend an event that I've been really looking forward to going to. So today is the only day I have to work on Maude, my Maude Mk2 Escort, to try and get her ready for the Northern Ireland trip. So I'm going to be going around the garage to hopefully get everything done that I need to get Maude ready. But before I leave, I've got something to show you. What I've got here are 3 large prints of Esther, my ST170 powered Mark 1 Escort. And these were taken at the Herbie's meet that we went to recently. Now I know the lighting isn't doing these justice, but yeah, I particularly like this bottom one. Now these prints were sent to me by a guy called Nathan Orbell, and I'll leave links in the description to his Facebook page and his Instagram page that he's got for his photography. So yeah, if you could all go and give him a follow on Facebook and Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. And I want to send a massive thanks out to Nathan for having these prints done for me. And when I do finally get myself a proper workshop, these are going to look awesome on the walls. Roger, the plastic Fiesta. We're almost to the garage, but we had to stop off for a Costa coffee. It's a way of life, isn't it? All right, so I've made it to the garage, and as you'll know if you watched the last video on this car, I don't have too much left to do now before she's fully back together. Got a load of buttoning up to do around the car, but what I'm going to do first is bleed the brakes, seeing as I've got my beautiful assistant still here to help me. I'm actually going to flush all the old brake fluid out. It's well overdue for a brake fluid change, and I have got a whole litre of this .4 brake fluid to do it with. And now I'll start with the rear bleed nipple, because you're supposed to start with the one that's furthest away from the master cylinder. Well, the passenger side front took ages because I replaced that whole line. Still not quite sure if all the air's out of it, but I'm going to go round all 3 of them afterwards. Go on. Yep. Right, so the brakes are now bled. I don't think there's any air left in the system. Top up the reservoir a little bit and then stick the lid back on. Right, the next thing I'm going to crack on with is installing this 90-degree hose, which goes from the heater into the water rail at the back of the engine there. And I'm obviously going to need to cut this to size. Needs a bit more off. Right, that looks about right. Now I need to cut this about here. So we'll put the Jubilee on here, just in case we've got it right this time. Might need chopping down a bit more, but I don't want to cut it too much, so I'd rather try it as it is. Now for the really awkward bit. Hard to fit, let alone film. Well, she's on there. I think I did cut it a bit too short on this bit, but yeah, it's just about on there. With the Jubilees done up tight enough, that should hold. And now I need to hook up this coolant pipe, which comes from the bottom radiator hose to the other fitting there from the heater. And I think what I'll do is I'll wait for Kat to get back to help me fit that other hose. If we look inside the car, that's the 2 pipes there coming from the heater. And I think if I was to get Kat to press that like that with a screwdriver, that will mean that those pipes will stick out more through the bulkhead and I'll be able to get the hose on there a bit more. But yeah, looks like that's going to work, so happy days. Now Kat has actually just run down the road to go and see my zinc plater to pick up some bits, and also go to the post office to post out some of your merchandise, and she's going to pick me up some cable ties because I've run out. Kat really does help me with the cars and the channel behind the scenes more than you could ever imagine. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do this without her. But yeah, while I'm waiting for her to come back, I'm going to button up a few other things on the car, and pretty soon I should be able to take Maude for a test drive to make sure that that clutch doesn't slip. Fingers crossed that it's all right. I think I'm gonna swap the throttle cable next. And as you would have seen in the previous video, I've already actually got the throttle cable hooked up to the throttle cable bracket. And yeah, basically the same way that this hooks up to this end with this slide on clip, this end hooks up to the ball on the pedal, and then the clip slides on in a similar way. That's all right, I was able to pull it off the pedal without taking the clip off first, so yeah. Now I just need to attach this bracket back to this sort of adapter, you could call it, that I made. I found that with this Zetec inlet manifold, the bracket was a bit too close to the carburetor because of the length of this rod. So yeah, I just basically put this adapter plate on, and then I was able to mount the bracket a bit further away so that the rod meets up to the linkage perfectly. It would have been better if I could weld a couple of nuts underneath this. It's a bit fiddly using nut and bolt, but it's just about possible. Getting high on the fuel. I'll have to glue that in there because I don't have a spare one of them. Alright, so that's the throttle cable fitted. I do need to glue this bush thing in because it's broken. I don't have a replacement one, but yeah, I've had to do that in the past. That'll work fine. And my beautiful girlfriend Kat is back with these plated bits, which we'll talk about in another video, and some cable ties. If you just hold that screwdriver on them pipes and just keep them forced through into the engine bay, cool, I can get the coolant hoses on a bit better. On the bridge bit, yeah? That's it, yeah, cool. And it's pushing both pipes through. Cool. Maude is now actually quite close to being ready to take for a test drive. So I'm gonna button a load of things up, put a load of cable ties where they need to be, throw some water and some rad flush in the radiator, put Maude's front wheels back on, and then take her for a test drive. As I mentioned in the previous video, there's no free play on the clutch fork when the cable isn't hooked up, so potentially the bearing could be putting pressure on the clutch and it might make the clutch slip. All right, so another hour or two has passed, and as you can see, Maude is now back on all fours. I've pretty much hooked everything back up now. I still do need to put the oil catch can back on, but yeah, everything else is basically back together. But it's bad news. No matter what I do with the adjustment of the clutch slips. I'll just show you how loose it is at the moment. The pedal is right to the floor. There's hardly any travel left. Amazingly, the gears don't crunch, even though it's that loose, but you know, the clutch slips. So what's happening is, I'm pretty sure that the heavy duty release bearing is obviously a bit too tall and it's putting pressure on the pressure plate. As I mentioned before, when I put it back together, before I put the cable on, there wasn't any free play on the clutch fork, and you always should have, you know, a millimetre or two of free play, and then that tells you that there's definitely no pressure on the clutch when, you know, your foot is off the clutch or when the clutch cable isn't hooked up. So the one thing I was worrying about biting me on the backside actually has done so. Now, I don't have any time to be pulling the engine out today to, you know, rectify the situation. I actually don't know where the clutch release bearing is that I took off when I dismantled it. It's obviously in this pile of junk somewhere, but yeah, I don't have time to do that today anyway. So Maude isn't coming to Northern Ireland, and instead we'll be riding in comfort in Roger, the plastic Fiesta. I am gutted that I can't take Maude, but it is kind of 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. It would have been a very uncomfortable ride going all that way in Maude, but if she was ready, I would have taken her. I know that Porrig Murphy, the guy that invited me to the Summit Run in Northern Ireland, was hoping that I could bring one of my 2 cars with me. Obviously, I wanted to bring Esther, but after the accident, that was out the window, and I really have spent the last couple of weeks trying my hardest to get Maude ready, but it wasn't to be. And it means that I'm going to be super busy when I get back from Northern Ireland, ripping Maude's engine out to try and rectify this situation. I really do want to run a heavy duty style release bearing, even though it wasn't broken this time when I took it apart. So I think what I'm going to probably do is order another brand new stock clutch release bearing, because as I say, I don't know where the old one is in my garage. And then when I get back from Northern Ireland, that should have come through the post. And then when I rip Maude's engine back out, I can probably compare the two and maybe take the heavy duty bearing down to see Carlo, the precision engineer, and he'll be able to shave it wherever it's needed to make it the exact right spec, and then the heavy duty bearing should work. But whatever way you look at it, Maude's engine does need to come out again. So now that I know that Maude isn't coming to Northern Ireland, I'm gonna pack up around the garage quickly and get home. And you know, I'm not gonna waste the afternoon when I can spend that doing a bit of video editing or packing ready for the trip tomorrow. Right, so I've put Maude back up on axle stands and removed the front wheels, and that way I've kind of made a start on ripping the engine out next week. And it also means the car is a bit more secure. Got a little cricket that I just found inside a carrier bag in the garage, and I've released it, but it wants to stay sitting on Maude. Into the evening time, and earlier on my friend Dale, who you may remember saved me at the roadside when Esther's tyre popped, told me about a local classic Ford meet, so we're going to go and check it out. So this car meet is being organised by a group called the Watford CC group, and they do have a Facebook page, so I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. And my friend Dale said he might be bringing out his Mk2 Escort van tonight, so yeah, really excited to show you that. All right, so we've made it to the location of the meet. Quite a few old Fords here for us to check out, so cue the music. Alright, so since I ran round and filmed the clips you've already seen, quite a few people have already left, but there's still quite a few cool cars here. We'll start with Dale's Mk2 Escort van that I was telling you about on the way down here. Hoping to do a full video on this at some point. But yeah, this thing was in a right state when Dale got it, but it is now stunning. Running a 1600 Crossflow on a twin choke, and just check out that polished rad. Running on the wide RS style alloys. Check out how mint this interior is. RS 4-spoke steering wheel. It's got Recaros, which Dale was saying are from a 2.8 Capri. Got these brand new door cards from Aldridge, like in the aftermarket pedals. Dale's put a one-piece fiberglass rear door on this, which I'm actually a fan of, and he's done it properly, welded up all the holes, which would have been for the left-hand side door. Yeah, as I say, it's only one of many cars that Dale owns, and hopefully we'll get some of the others on the channel at some point in the future. Check out this two-door Mk1 that's parked next to Dale's van. Loving the aggression on the front end with the Sibby spotlights and the bib spoiler at the bottom. Looks like a lot of work has gone into this one to make it look so mint. Check out the interior. Love the rally style switch panel in the centre. Check the RS embroidery on those seats. Roll cage in the back. Really nice, man. Check this for a start-up procedure. Start button in the gear stick. Oh, that's really cool, man. Nice touch. I wonder what's in the engine bay.
Believe it or not, it's just a 1.1.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've owned this for 25 years.
Okay.
Bought when I was 15 as a rider.
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years getting it on the road.
Cool.
And then started modding it and never stopped.
1.1 Crossflow in the bay. Nice. Check out this 2.8 injection Capri. Absolutely stunning. Really, really smart engine bay. Nice alloy rad. Plenty of shiny bits. Interior is absolutely mint. Obviously with the Recaros. It's really stunning. And the owner of this Capri actually also owns a 3 S Mark III Capri as well. Really tidy Mark II Fiesta. Really nice SAF Cozzy. Compomotive alloys. Check the engine bay, loads of red bits, love that. Over here we've got a really nice 300e Thames van, really original. Actually had the bonnet up a little while ago and it's still got the original, I think they're called flat top engine. 3 litre GXL Mark 1 Granada over in this corner. Really nice interior. Check out all the wood on the dash. Proper luxury motor from back in the day. And over here we've got a Mk2 Escort RS 1600i. Love the look of these things with the front splitter and the spotlights and the iconic stripes on the bonnet. Really tidy example. Love that boot spoiler. So yeah, overall a pretty cool classic Ford meet that's actually not that far away from where I live, so definitely going to be checking this one out in the future. Hey, the Cibi spotlight covers are coming off. It's going to do some nighttime rallying. Alright, so back at home, and that little car meet was definitely a nice end to an otherwise disastrous day. As I've already mentioned, tomorrow me and Kat are going to be going on our little road trip to Northern Ireland. We're going to be heading up to Liverpool, where I'm hoping to bump into a couple of subscribers and check out their cars, and then we'll be getting the ferry over to Northern Ireland. You'll be able to see all of that in the next few videos, but for now I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media and my website. I'll also leave my email address down there for anyone who wants to contact me. Massive thanks to Nathan Orbell for sending me those prints of Esther at the Herbies meet. And as always, a massive thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support on my channel. But other than that, until next time, from me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat, thanks for watching.